Ready Player One review and reaction. Director Steven Spielberg presented a fantastic film, The First Player to Be Prepared, the most anticipated film of the year according to the fantasy world, based on the book of the same name by Ernest Cline. The plot of the picture unfolds in the beginning of the 21st century. The successful game developer James Halliday changed the world. He created the virtual reality Oasis, which was originally intended solely for games, but after several decades it penetrated into all spheres of life. They are engaged in business, receive education, or simply hide from the ills of the real world. The whole planet is shaken by Halliday's will. His fortune will be received by one who finds Easter eggs hidden in Oasis. In search of a virtual grail, millions of enthusiasts and a predatory corporation are running. The published authors very often recommend that their colleagues write about what they know and love. Ernest Cline, screenwriter of the comedy Fans About the Fans of Star Wars, very fond of science fiction, desktop and computer games, cartoons and pop culture of the end of the last century. And, working on his debut novel, he no doubt followed the wise advice of the masters. Cline is a geek to the core, and he wrote a story about geeks and geeks. The game reality of Oasis, where the main action of the novel takes place, could well claim to be the man-made paradise for fiction lovers. It really exists. The access device in Oasis provides the effect of a full immersion. In the virtual universe, thousands of popular fantasy worlds from movies, books and games are recreated in detail. You can acquire your own spacecraft or master magic. Almost all works of mass culture created by mankind are freely accessible here, and the local government is headed by Cory Doctorow and Wil Wheaton. The plot, the protagonist and style of narration to suit the world. Oasis created a man for whom fantasy was akin to religion, and Halliday hid his Easter eggs so that only a man sharing his passion could find it. Anyone who is able to pass a record through an ancient arcade door, being in the role of the hero of the classic film, accurately reproduce all the replicas and actions of the character. Heroes and actors. That's the guy Wade Watts, who grew up in poverty. Oasis became for him a salvation from a bleak routine, and Halliday is a kind of deity. Wade reread all the books and comics, many times reviewed the films and went through the games that his idol loved. Well, how can the reader geek not feel sympathy for such a character? Especially since Cline really understands the geeks, who know hundreds of works of mass culture by heart and regularly cite quotes from them. It is worth the passengers, as the hunters behind the treasure of Halliday call themselves, come together, as surely the friendly pickings begin around your favorite films, heroes or actors. And about avatars and their status in virtual reality, Wade's companions often care more than about their own health or sleep. And for some time these quite vital characters turn out to be not the spectators, but the main heroes of history. This is what makes Cline's novel unique. Cline with sincerity and love writes about what is close and understandable to geeks. The plot itself does not shine with originality. The author perfectly understands this and even in the prologue reveals the end of the search for Easter eggs. Enemies are faceless, which is not surprising for employees of a global corporation, eager to take Halliday's legacy. Such treacherous companies, whose bosses do not stop at anything for profit, meet in fantasy pretty often. And when we leave Wade with Oasis and get out into the real world, we see the most common anti-utopian picture. But Cline's novel belongs to the number of books where the story itself is not important, but the way it is told. Cline with amazing sincerity and love writes about everything that is close and understandable to geeks, whether it be virtual battles or squabbles in chat rooms. Thanks to this, the novel bribes from the first pages and gives a lot of positive emotions. Easter eggs from Cline. After the release of the novel, Cline himself organized a quest for readers like what Halliday had arranged for the heroes of the novel. In his blog, the author admitted that he hid in the pages of the book a kind of Easter eggs, and hinted how to find it. And then those who found it expected a series of tests related to fantasy and games. In the last round, it was required to set a world record in the classic arcade Joust. The winner received a DeLorean car, the same as the one from which Doc Brown in the film Back to the Future built a time machine.